This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Welcome to the Eric Pitts Show, where truth is stranger than fiction and more entertaining. Good afternoon, folks. Let me see if I got my audio levels set here. Alright. Test. Alright, yeah, I'm coming through. Okay. Welcome to the show. This is the very first episode of the Eric Pitts Show, hence my name, Eric Pitts. Actually, I am the founder of Liberty Movement Radio. If you're listening to us on the stream there on Liberty Movement Radio, me and Josiah Ray got together one night, and Liberty Movement Radio came to life. And I'm thankful for all the hosts that have stuck with us. We've only been up since November, the 5th of November. I went live with a 24-hour stream. Didn't have much programming. I had a few friends that wanted to do a few shows, and and it basically just was just us. And since that time, we've had a few that have dropped out, and we've had a few that have come aboard. We've had some that have come on and left, and I don't know. It is what it is. You know what I mean? We're always on the lookout. If you'd be interested in doing a show on the network, all you have to really do is just get a hold of me or Josiah. I think the best way is probably info@libertymovementradio.com, or if you got us on Facebook or at us, Eric Pitts or Josiah Ray. You should see on mine that I work at Liberty Movement Radio. That'll show up in the description of Facebook if you have a hard time following or finding me. But yeah, it's just a boring-ass Sunday afternoon. I'm actually doing this show live on a test stream, just to see what's possible here. Running at 96 kilobytes instead of the normal 64 that LMR is running on. Just see if we can get a little more punch in the stream, if you know what I mean, and make it sound a little clearer. I really don't know how well it's going now with. I've got a real cheap ass microphone. I really do, and $3 off eBay. So if that tells you anything. Let's hope this doesn't start.
This is the first.
Whoa. I had some audio accidentally start there, folks. Didn't mean to do that. I'm trying to find something that I had just played just a little bit ago, and I thought was worth repeating here. I don't know if you guys know who Austin Peterson is. I'm sure a lot of you folks do. He was the producer for Judge Andrew Napolitano on his Fox Business Network show. Excellent show. They canceled it on him right when Ron Paul was being discredited in the election coverage. Pretty much shut him down. I got a feeling that's what was behind it. Nobody really knows for sure. I don't think he even knows for sure. But in the headlines today, at least on YouTube, that's basically where I get my information, because people will upload, local news clips and things like that are going on in their local area, things that mainstream news, usually won't cover. But Yeah, machine gun fire from fully automatic helicopter machine guns was reported in Miami. Here's a clip for you if you can hear it.
Black Hawk choppers soaring through the night sky, but this is only a drill. My team's Mike Marza has some pictures for us explaining what's going on. Mike? Still, if you've seen one of these drills, it really is like a scene out of one of those action movies. Choppers
talking head here is talking about how it's a drill and it's like a movie.
Let me show you what's happening right in the show.
I think the whole point to the video,
right now have blocked off
is
Biscayne
just
Boulevard, but we believe that is largely
to alert
because the Miami Heat game is about to be let out at the AAA, which is nearby.
It just doesn't play well on radio because it's mostly just video. You know, it shows the helicopters. There's like two helicopters chasing each other, and one machine guns, another one apparently using blanks. But that's not what I was going to get to. I was going to get to this Austin Peterson. He was on RT Network on Tom Hartman's show, and Tom Hartman was doing a hit piece on libertarians. I think it was mostly Big L libertarians, but actually the hit piece was more on Ron Paul. And I would have got really emotional myself. I'm surprised that Austin Peterson kept it together, but I guess he's pretty good at keeping it together under pressure. That I will give him, although I don't agree with a lot of his stances, you know, especially against conspiracy, so-called theories, you know, and but anyway, let me play this clip. This should be okay on audio for you. It's about 15 minutes long. But it actually made me proud of Austin Peterson. Like I said, I've never been a fan.
To get the health care you need. The Sun Sentinel out of Florida is reporting on a man who threatened to kill President Obama just so he could be arrested, thrown in jail, and receive much-needed medical care. 57-year-old Stephen Espelin told a judge last week that he, quote, would have no intent to hurt the president, but he knew federal agents would arrive and take care of him if he made the threat. Espelin made this threat against the president after he was kicked out of a hospital for giving a false name and lying that he had health insurance. Here's where we should all ask ourselves, exactly why is it that sick people who need care are kicked out of hospitals because they don't have health insurance? But ultimately, Espelin had no other choice to receive medical care. First lie that he had health insurance, and then when that didn't work, he tried to illegally threaten the president's life. His state's governor, Rick Scott, is critical of Obamacare and is unlikely to adopt the provision in the law that expands Medicaid coverage in his state, which would help people, poor and homeless people like Espelin. But now that Espelin is headed to jail, he's going to get the care he needs. He's already receiving chemotherapy, and once he begins his 4-year prison sentence, he's scheduled to have heart surgery. This is a cautionary tale of what happens to a nation that doesn't provide basic medical care to its citizens. But it's not the first time something like this has happened. Meet James Richard Verone of North Carolina. Back in 2011, Verone walked into a bank, told the teller that he's robbing them for $1, took the dollar, and then sat on a bench and waited for the cops to arrive to arrest him. You see, Verone had worked for 17 years as a delivery driver for Coca-Cola. Unfortunately, he'd been laid off a few years ago. He lost his health insurance, developed a protrusion in his chest, as well as arthritis and carpal tunnel syndrome. His illnesses prevented him from working, which then prevented him from receiving health insurance, since, again, this is the only developed nation in the world that doesn't provide basic care to all of its citizens. With no other options, Verone decided he had to go to jail to get the health care he needs, so he robbed a bank for $1. When asked why he would resort to such desperate measures to get health care, Verone simply said, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. This is complete insanity. And it brings us to another story, this one of Ron Paul. Ron Paul represents libertarianism in America, an ideology gaining steam in this country, as well as an ideology that sees no problem with the two stories that I just told you about. To libertarians, health care is not a basic human right to be provided by our government. Haven't you ever heard of survival of the fittest? Only the strong survive? To Ron Paul and other libertarians, freedom means being free, not having to buy health insurance, and not allowing the government to tax us in order to pay for a basic safety net of health care for all Americans. Here's Ron Paul laying that idea out during one of the Republican debates in 2011.
My advice to him would have a major medical policy, but not before.
But he doesn't have that. He doesn't have it, and he needs intensive care for 6 months. Who pays?
That's what freedom is all about, taking your own risk. This whole idea that you have to prepare and take care of everybody.
But, Congressman, are you saying the society should just let him die?
No.
Yeah, essentially, yes. Let him die. Just like Ron Paul did with his own campaign manager from 2000.
All right. Hold on. He cut away. He said the question was asked, let him die. And instead of letting Ron Paul answer the question, it panned back to Thom Hartmann, who answered incorrectly. And essentially, yes, let him die. You know, now he's going to go on to tell you a sob story about an ex-employee of Ron Paul that died of a dreadful disease, and Ron Paul did nothing to help. Okay. Well, I think this is a pretty shameful hit piece myself, but I'll go ahead and let you listen to it, because the ending is pretty good.
2008, Kent Snyder. He died. Ron Paul didn't provide health insurance to his campaign staff, so Snyder didn't go to the hospital when he got sick. He got sicker and sicker before being finally diagnosed with pneumonia, but then it was too late. Snyder went to the hospital but died of complications from that pneumonia. Since he didn't have health insurance, he racked up $400,000 in medical bills before he died, which were left to his surviving family to pay. Snyder had helped raise millions for Ron Paul, but in the high-stakes libertarian world, he got sick and died with no one to care for him, and Ron Paul's campaign not paying a penny of his medical bills. How many more stories like this do we need to hear before something changes? Either we make health care a basic human right in America, just like it is elsewhere in the developed world, or we commit ourselves to unrest, desperation, and a sick population. So that's my take. Now let's hear from Austin Petersen, Director of Production at FreedomWorks and editor of the Libertarian Republic. Austin, welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Tom.
So what part of the right to life out of the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, what part of right to life do libertarians not understand? How can you have life if you are sick and you can't get access to health care?
Well, that's what conservatives say to liberals such as yourself when it comes to abortion. When you talk about a right to life and you're talking about health care, you know, this is a very emotional topic for me personally, Tom, because my mother died from cancer when I was very young, and she suffered and also suffered from a pharmacist who gave her diluted prescription drugs, diluted her chemotherapy drugs, and she died as a result of this. And now here's the thing. My father and mother worked very hard in order to pay for the health insurance that was necessary in order for them to be able to pay for her cancer treatments. They did this on their own. It was a woman-owned business. My mother owned the business, and my father ran it. And they worked very hard in order to be able to afford the treatment that was necessary so that when my mother did get cancer, she was going to be able to pay for it. We didn't ask the state for a darn thing, and we worked our butts off to make sure that we would have what was necessary so that my mother would be taken care of, because we knew that that would be a possibility. So when it did happen, when that tragedy hit our family, we would be able to afford that health care. So this is not an issue of me not wanting people to get health care or letting people die. This is an issue of me making sure, that my father making sure, and one day when I have my own children making sure that I will work hard enough to make sure that the people that I care about will be taken care of, because I do care. But what I will not do, what I refuse to do is to go and take a gun and to walk into your house and to take from you to demand that you take care of my mother. I love my mother very much, Tom, but I would never, ever say that it would be morally right for me to steal from you to take care of the people that I love.
Okay, so by saying take a gun and go to my house and steal from me, you're talking about our tax system.
I'm talking about, yes, that's right.
Okay. So you're strongly of the opinion that right to life does not mean the right to health care.
No, that's
that there is no right to health care.
All right. I had to interrupt again now. See how Thom Hartmann shifted the subject here. You know, Thom Hartmann's trying to say the right to life means that you have a right to health care. And that's just so totally wrong. A person has to understand that no person has the right to another person, another person's labor, another person's property. I think that's what this all boils down to right here. If you own your body, you own the fruit of your labor, which means that taxes are theft. You know, if you didn't give your permission to be taxed, you know, and you own your body, and they are taking money before you even get it. Before you even get it, it's taken out of your paycheck. You know, they're taking what they didn't work for, they're taking what you worked for. and this is supposedly a free country, and you're telling me you don't even own your own body. You don't own the fruit of your own labor. You know, that's pretty sad. Not only does it steal from you, it makes your employer a tax collector. Your employer is doing the bidding of the state, you know, under forced coercion, because if they don't do it, they get shut down. The owner goes to court, most possibly goes to jail, ends up in financial ruin at the very least. You know, so it just, these guys just do not understand that rights, you know, include the right to your own body, and anything that betrays that, you know, even though it's for the good, I would love to see everybody having health care. I really would. You know, I've actually, you know, I've sat and watched my wife deteriorate for 3 years with no health care, with really bad diabetes and, what do they call that? Thyroid disease. She had Graves' disease, messed up her thyroid, started spreading to her other organs before she finally got eligible to have some kind of coverage. So, you know, I understand. In a perfect world, everybody would have medical coverage, but it's just not a right, because it intrudes on others' rights. You know, it causes taxation, which is theft, intruding on your right to your property, which is your body, and the fruit of your labor, which is your paycheck. You know, that is theft, and that's what I think needs to be made clear to these liberals, and, you know, that yeah, we would love to see everybody have health care. You know, the thing is that it needs to be an opt-in, opt-out solution. Nobody should be taxed under threat of force. If you don't pay your taxes, you know, they're going to knock on your door, they're going to, you know, take your property, you're liable to end up in a cage. You know, it's pretty bad. I live down the street from the federal prison where they've got Irwin Schiff, you know, who was just speaking out and, you know, and telling people, hey, there's no law that you have to pay taxes. If there is, I challenge anybody to show it to me. You know, and nobody could ever produce it. Tax collectors, people that work for the IRS investigated and thought, okay, you know, this is the easy way to pick up the $50,000 or whatever it is that Mr. Schiff offered as a reward for finding this law. And it convinced them that they were on the wrong side. And they quit, you know, and it's just, it's shameful the way this country's deteriorated, you know, and the morals that the people don't see. The people don't see that doing what they think is right is actually doing wrong. You know, I don't know. And now they're grabbing the guns and they say that's for our good. When you leave us disarmed, unable to defend ourselves, it's just, I'll roll into that on the next segment. But let me go ahead and finish this video out and let Austin Peterson have a few more words with Thom Hartmann here. You know, like I said, I never was a big fan of Austin Peterson. He appeared on Tracy Diaz's show a few times and proved to me that I thought he was a fool. You know, some of the points he took with the pharmaceutical companies, vaccines, 9/11, you know, all kinds of stuff like that just didn't sit right with me. You know, because I think I'm a little more awake when it comes to those type of things. When he's still a little more mainstream, and, you know, he did the big debate at PorcFest last year, I think it was. But let me quit babbling and get back to this video here. It looks like there's like about another 8 minutes left or so, so go ahead and listen to this.
You're talking about what's the difference between a positive right and a negative right. A negative right is a right that we can exercise that it doesn't impinge on your rights.
Your right,
and a positive right would be a health care right, would be something like that you have to go and you have to take something from someone to give to someone. That's the difference between negative rights and positive rights.
My right to say I don't want to be taxed trumps your mother's right to survive another day.
Do you have to be taxed for me to exercise my freedom of speech, Tom?
Well,
there's a difference between positive rights and negative rights. A right is something that must be provided. In order for you to be able to provide something that is a positive right, something that must be provided, force must be introduced into the equation. So what we're saying is, you don't believe that in a utopian society where absolutely everyone could possibly be taken care of in healthcare.
I absolutely do.
No, you really believe in a utopian communist society where absolutely every single person. So then why do they wait 10 months?
mischaracterize it.
Why do people have to wait 10 months to get an eye exam in places like Sweden, where my intern goes, and he can't even get an eye exam? He has to wait 10 months.
Because he doesn't have a big problem with his eyes.
So why in Canada do they have to wait? Why do they have to wait 3 years to go and get a knee operation in a place like Canada, where they have socialized medicine? They're streaming across the border.
You're throwing everything you can at the wall, and it's not sticking.
Because you're trying to make this an emotional subject.
No,
and I can do the exact same
rights.
thing. Yes,
it's
positive
about
rights.
Is there a right to health care?
And you claim that there is a positive right.
Every developed country in the world says, yes, there's
So you own my
right.
body. You own a part of my body, my time, and my labor. And you own health care, the doctor's time.
Your logic is bizarre.
No, really? You think that doctors go and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars and work their butts off to go and get those medical degrees, and that they don't have a right to profit off of that? Don't you understand that how the profit motive works, that if they were going to make more money, they would have more patients? That's how capitalism works, Tom, by helping each other. I don't make more money by screwing you.
Austin, stop the filibuster machine here. I'm not suggesting that we don't pay doctors.
You're suggesting that libertarians don't care about people, Tom, and you're wrong.
Yeah, oh, come on, Austin.
Yeah, you're suggesting that we're heartless.
This faux outrage is absurd.
This is not faux outrage. You brought up this thing with Ken Snyder and Ron Paul.
Okay, if you want to get upset about this, let me say Ron Paul killed his employee.
People are dying out there.
And your mother was killed by a country that didn't provide her with health care.
She was killed by a pharmacist who didn't give a damn about her. If she was killed by a cancer,
and you're trying to tell me,
nothing to do with government intervention.
What you want to do is you want to tell every American out there that if you don't have a job, and in fact, you want to tell yourself, Austin, this is the really sad part. You want to tell yourself that if you don't have a job and therefore you don't have access to health care, you don't have the money to pay for it, then you're dead.
It's not about having a job, Tom. It's about lowering costs. And you don't even necessarily have to have a job to pay for certain procedures.
Lowering costs is not a right.
What do you mean?
Life is a right.
Where am I right now?
Life is a right.
Okay, so then no abortion, right? So you're against abortion?
This has nothing to do with when life begins. That's a whole separate debate.
Then babies, all the 50 million babies
have
that have been killed since abortion has begun.
Again, you keep trying to change the subject.
A right to life, Tom. You sound like a pro-lifer.
The right to life was originally for people who were opposed to death penalty.
But not unborn children.
This is not about that. This is... If somebody is pregnant, they should have access to medical care.
Okay.
And I am perfectly willing to pay taxes for it, and you should be too.
But, okay.
You are a
so
piker.
You're willing to do
you're
it, but
trying to weasel out of being part of society.
Right.
That's what libertarians
are doing. And you're willing to use force to force me to do what you think is right.
Absolutely.
I think
absolutely. I will own up to it. Absolutely. The tax.
And we should invade China. We should invade Russia. We should invade Pakistan because I think that's right, and I think
this is pathetic.
And every
if you don't want to pay taxes, you are a piker. If you don't want to pay your fair share of the cost of society, you're just trying to weasel out of it.
I can just make up anything that we want that's a right. What else can we do? I have a right to gourmet food, right? I have a right to a steak.
I don't recall gourmet food in the Declaration of Independence.
Well, I don't recall health care in the Declaration of Independence.
Life is in the Declaration of Independence. How do you have life if you're sick and you can't get treatment?
Well, how
do you have it?
Well, you've got to fight for yourself.
Where do you go get it? You got to go find it for yourself.
You got to
go. So we have the right to stand outside the hospital and beg.
But do you have a right to die?
What about this guy who was sick?
Tom? Do you have a right to die?
Absolutely, and I'm in favor of Oregon. But again, you're changing the subject.
No, we're talking about rights, Tom. What is a right? A right is something that must be provided, right?
Absolutely.
Must be provided,
absolutely.
Right? So a positive right versus a negative right.
This is a right is something that it is the obligation of society to provide.
Oh, really? Society?
Yes.
Who is society? Well, you're confusing government with society,
on this.
Tom.
Government was created by us.
You're forgetting everything that I've taught you.
Government was created by us.
How many times?
Society, our government.
All right. Did you hear that? A right is something that the government must provide. Okay. Oh, apparently Tom Hartman has no fucking clue, okay? Rights, if you look at the Bill of Rights of the Constitution, it tells you that rights come from our Creator or our humanity for those of us who don't believe in religion. They weren't given to us by the Constitution or by the Bill of Rights. They have nothing whatsoever to do with the government. Those documents were just put there to make sure the government doesn't infringe on the rights that we already inherently have because we're human beings. And for that matter, there is no distinction, between a brown person, and a white person, a black person. Everybody is equal. You know, that's as a human, we all have these unalienable rights, which means they can't fuck with them. They can't take them away like they're trying to take our damn guns now. They disarm us, and the next thing you know, they have got us. It's checkmate. You know, even though right now we're outgunned, you know, so much. They've got the tanks, they've got the drones, they've got Lord knows what. You know, we're like 50 years behind in knowing exactly what they have. You know, and the Second Amendment was actually put in place. It says so we can defend ourselves from a tyrannical government, you know, and a well-regulated militia. And people think that word regulated means, you know, under government control. And that's actually not what the word meant when they wrote it. When they wrote it, regulated means something that was regular, something that was common, a common militia, a regular folks. You know, so they love to change the meaning of words, the same way they did in the Bible, to make you believe all that bullshit. And my condolences to all my Christian listeners out there. I'm sorry, but I hate your fucking religion. I hate every fucking religion. It's not just another source of controlling you. Fear-mongering, you know, and the quickest way to see the truth in religion is to read the fucking book, okay? 90% of all Christians have never read the fucking book. If you read the fucking book, and you read it right, not reading it thinking everything's true from the beginning, reading it skeptically. Like, well, didn't he just say this a while ago? You know what I mean? And back here in this gospel, doesn't it say he said this? But in this gospel, it says he says that. You know what I mean? Things like that. And you're trying to tell me this book is 100% true word of God? My fucking ass, okay? That's all I've got to say about it, I guess. But yeah, we can't let him disarm us, folks. Let me see if I can find this other clip. There's actually a few people that are standing up for our rights. There's people that know, especially constitutional sheriffs, that they are our best defense, you know, because they have the power to not allow the feds to enforce their illegal laws in your county. You know, and people really need to check out Sheriff Mack. He did a book a long time ago, you know, well, a few years back, about constitutional sheriffs, and he sent it to every sheriff across the country. And since then, there's been a lot of new sheriffs elected, and people really need to get that book out to their new sheriff and not just send it to him anonymously, because chances are he'll just toss it in a pile and, oh, cool, look what somebody got me, decoration for my bookshelf. But you need to actually talk to the guy, make a connection with him, try to make him understand, you know, that there's some more things that he needs to know about how powerful his office really is and his responsibility, and get him to read the book, you know. But let me take you to another clip here. It's only about a minute long. It's like a PSA, a commercial. It's not even that. It's like a news clip, I think, of what a sheriff did in Milwaukee, because he realized that people's lives were in danger, and you know, they're trying to cut the sheriff's department totally out, you know, because the federal government knows that's the loophole, that's the one that can get them, you know, that's the one that can keep them out of the county. So listen to what this sheriff had to say. I think you'll like it.
In the meantime, a Milwaukee County sheriff has some pretty scary words for its residents. Sheriff David Clark says calling 911 and waiting for the police to come and help is no longer the best option. Instead, he says people should learn to protect themselves in case they get into a dangerous situation. And here is why.
With officers laid off and furloughed, simply calling 911 and waiting is no longer your best option. You can beg for mercy from a violent criminal, hide under the bed, or you can fight back. But are you prepared? Consider taking a certified safety course in handling a firearm so you can defend yourself until we get there.
Milwaukee's mayor is among those who are criticizing the sheriff's message. He says Sheriff Clark sounds like he's auditioning for, quote, the next Dirty Harry movie. A big cold snap brings an Arctic chill to parts of the country. Plus,
yeah, had to have that little put down at the end, didn't they? You know, they couldn't let the story stand on its own, on his own words. He had to go ahead and insult the guy at the end. You know, so. That's how they do it, man. This mainstream news, if they do happen to let anything slip in that's halfway decent, you know, they'll screw it up. They'll try to make it look bad, make it a laughing stock. It's a battle, man. You know, I'm not a big Alex Jones fan either, but you know, it's an information war. I think he got that right. You know what we have to do. Those of us in alternative media, you know, on the internet, we've got to find a way to get the message out to the folks that are hypnotized by them fucking boxes they call TVs. You know, because they will fuck your mind all up. They do. That's where all these sheep come from. Because they don't care anymore about what's going on in the world. They care about what's going on the next episode of American Idol or the Kardashians or the real New York Housewives or whatever the hell it is they're watching. You know, it's they don't give a shit. And then the other people are hypnotized by the fucking sports. You know, yeah, go Rams, go who the fuck ever. You know, getting all this big team, you know, mentality, all the violence boiled up in them, yeah, and all this male testosterone, you know, I don't know, man. It's all fucking programming, you know, from the very time you hit public school nowadays, and in my day it wasn't so much, you know. I guess I'm lucky. Here I am, I'm getting close to 50 now. I'm like 45, 46, 47, and honestly, I'd have to add the fucking years up, man. I was born in July of 66, so you figure this shit out, okay? But I'm telling you, the older you get, the foggier your brain gets, and that's why I haven't been doing radio shows. You know, I've had people try to encourage me to do them, but I don't think I'm actually smart enough or well-read enough to cite enough sources to do a serious radio show. That's why I'm kind of throwing together clips for you and babbling in between here, you know, and hope I don't get myself in trouble doing this. You know, if I was face-to-face with you, I couldn't talk to you, to be honest with you. I've got anxiety problems and social anxiety disorder, so... You know, like the internet is my refuge, and fucking lucky that it is, man. Otherwise, I'd have my ass sunk in the goddamn TV too. You know, talking about get rid of the fucking guns. Hell yeah, bring in Obamacare. You know, that's yeah. Oh man, well, lucky me. Somebody turned me on to Ron Paul. Hadn't been that long ago either. 2011. And it's actually another co-host on LMR, Matthew Mansell. He does the Voice of Reason show. I believe it's Friday night at 6 o'clock. You know, and he's a really good guy. He's very intelligent, very educated. Very few things I have against him. One of them is he's a Zionist, but I think that's something that he'll probably eventually wake up to. It's oh my god, let me just not get started on that, you know. And then I don't know, I think he's got a hearing problem or something, so sometimes he's a little hard to understand on the mic, and you know, people give him flack about that. But if you actually listen to the guy and what he says, he really knows his shit, you know. He really does. You know, like I said, he turned me on to Ron Paul. I remember the comment. I was watching like Perry or Bush or something, and I said, I would never vote for another president from Texas in my life. I don't know why they're so full of shit in Texas. And he said, well, I guess you've never heard of Ron Paul, huh? I'm like, no, I haven't. He says, well, look him up, and he sent me a YouTube clip or something, and the first time I seen it, I'm like, I'll be damned. You know, there is somebody out there that is actually an honest politician that actually knows his shit. He you know, he knows that we need to stop fucking killing people everywhere. You know, he I don't know, actually somebody honest in government, and he had a voting record to back it up. And that, I loved it, man. I fell for it. Went all the way to Tampa to, all the way to the end when he got let down big time when he did that Republican. The Republican at the Sun Dome. I was sitting up there booing Rand Paul, getting told by the people sitting around me, "Don't disrespect Dr. Paul, that's his son." And I'm like, well, he already disrespected his own damn father by endorsing and campaigning for Romney. Don't blame me if I'm going to boo for him. So that's basically what I did. And, had a good time, met some pretty good people there, and oh well, maybe someday I'll do another Liberty event, get to go to one, but in my medical condition with my anxiety, I had several breakdowns while I was down there, and luckily I had people that were there for me. I couldn't thank people like Lee, people like oh my God, this sounds bad. I can't even remember names because I'm just so foggy in the head, But yeah, there was another woman down there that helped me out a lot. Drove me, to where I needed to go, to a motel for the night, and then Noelle, she let me stay at her house. Actually inconveniencing her, staying at her house, and and she was driving me back and forth to Paul Festival, and I felt bad for intruding like that, but she's just such a nice person that she was taking everybody in, and some people were, she took one woman in that gave her hell because, Noelle's dog accidentally pee-peed a little spot on her bag or something, and, even though she took her and all of her children in, gave them a warm place to stay during the hurricane at that, the woman got all crappy with her, so I don't know. I guess I shouldn't be gossiping on here. That's the problem. I shouldn't be doing shows. All right, let's hear from an Oregon sheriff who says he will ignore the gun control laws. Here's a clip for you.
So how about this story? An Oregon sheriff now saying that he will not enforce President Obama's new gun control recommendations, and turns out he's not alone out there. At least 10 states now say that they're considering taking some sort of legislative action against the federal government. Those states span the nation, from Oregon all the way to South Carolina. Many sheriffs are now calling for action, like Lynn County, Oregon Sheriff Tim Muller. Sheriff, welcome. Good to have you here today. Good morning, Martha. Talk to me a little bit about your process of thinking this through. When you started to hear about these executive orders coming down from the president, what kind of action did you take? What became your plan, and how do you back up your ability to carry that out?
Well, how it first started was I had a lot of folks in my county asking myself and my deputies, what my position was on if any what they termed far-reaching or overreaching gun control laws were established from the feds. And, I made my position known. I tell my deputies that, I didn't support anything, any regulations that would infringe upon the constitutional rights of our citizens. And more questions came out as far as, what my position was. I didn't see really a lot of information coming out of the committee that Vice President Biden was sitting on, and so I just wanted to reach out to my own citizens in my county and let them know what my position was. And while I was working on doing that, I thought, well, he's the chairman of the committee, and I didn't really see a lot of Western sheriffs out being asked on what we thought, and specifically, Pacific Northwest, right, where we're from here. And so I decided I'd send him a letter and just let him know what my position was here in Lynn County, Oregon, and try to be as respectful as possible and still get my point made. And didn't really expect the attention that it got. I figured I might get some local attention. I tried to reach out through our local newspaper, and then we put it on our the copy of the letter that I wrote on our Sheriff's Office Facebook page, and
that's the way things go now. Everything it's like wildfire. So what's your understanding of your jurisdiction, and you know, sort of what you are allowed to do under the law and what you are not beholden to in terms of these federal regulations?
Well, you know, I'm not so sure it's what I said, but how I said it in that letter. You know, we don't enforce federal law anyway. That's we're not required to do it. We're actually prohibited from doing it in most cases. And you know, a good example is federal immigration law. You know, we're prohibited from enforcing that.
Right.
And I don't think it's reasonable for anyone to think I'm going to enforce federal gun laws in my county.
You know, I guess one question, you know, for you would be if something were to happen in your community and it looked like one of these laws or changes might have prevented that person from having access to a firearm, well, how would you deal with that?
If it's we're just the Linn County Sheriff's Office, myself and my deputies, we have the position that we're not going to enforce that law. It's a federal law. You know, if it comes down as a state law, then we'll have to revisit that. But we won't enforce federal regulations or federal laws. We're not required to. There's a separation of powers, and we won't.
All right. Sheriff, thank you. Getting a lot of attention, and a lot of folks are getting on board with you. Thank you, sir.
You bet. Glad to be here. Thank you.
All right.
All right. All right, I'm really glad to see, you know, sheriffs and city councils and things getting involved in this, and I don't think that they will be able to actually go as far as gun confiscations, or I really doubt they get very far on banning the magazines and things like that, and certain guns just because they're scary, because they've gotten a lot of opposition now, but I don't know. I can't say that for sure, because the American public is just so fucking stupid from the brainwashing that the numbers, they've got the numbers. There's, you know, I would say 80% of people are for gun control because they're fucking ignorant. You know, if you happen to live in a county where the vocal majority are the, you know, 53% that are against it, then we've got a hell of a lot better chance. But let's just hope that our alternative sources will teach people, you know, that the Second Amendment is not about hunting. It's not even really about protecting yourself, you know, at your home. It's about shooting at the government when they are tyrannical. And that is exactly how Judge Andrew Napolitano put it when he did the Florida, a couple months back in Florida, some kind of a talk he gave down there. And I've actually got it on tape. It's on one of my YouTube channels. Yeah, they've got to know that they can't infringe. You know, what part of you cannot infringe these rights do they not understand? You know, that it's just, I can't believe that people are gonna roll over and take it if they do. If they do, they're fucking nuts, and these people maybe deserve what they get. You know, as sad as it is, how can they deserve it, you know, when they're actually hypnotized? But we've tried to wake a lot of them up. You know, a lot of them just laugh us off, and look what they did to Ron Paul. He went town to town, man, trying to wake people up. The only ones willing to hear it were the young people. You know, the old people were just set in their ways mostly. You know, there were a few scattered here and there like me, you know, but most of it was college campuses. But anyway, I'm running out of things to say, and I'm not actually taking calls because you guys won't be hearing this live because this is a test show. And in all honesty, you may not even hear it in the first place. But I'm going to go ahead and throw in a short little rant song that I heard on YouTube today. about Israel and Gaza, and I thought it was pretty good. It was marked wrong as David Icke, and it's not David Icke. Whoever uploaded it went ahead and remarked it as featured artist Taxi Driver, and I know who he's talking about. I'm subscribed to him, but his name escapes me. It's a guy that every day has got a rant or two online, from the front seat of his taxi cab. But anyway, let me go ahead and play this clip for you, and then I think I'll go ahead and head out with this. So until next time, enjoy in liberty.
Gaza is a massacre. Gaza is a massacre. It's murder. What the Israeli government is doing now to the people of Gaza is absolutely out-fucking-rageous, mate. It's out-fucking-rageous. And the West is not only complicit in the massacre of Gaza, in the genocide of the fucking Palestinian people, it's not only complicit, it fucking condones it. What sort of fucking lunatics, what sort of psychopaths would think that it's okay to bomb the most fucking densely populated civilian area on the fucking planet? The UK, US, NATO, the House of Saud. Who are these fucking lunatics that are supporting the fucking Israelis? They don't want to send ground troops in. Why do they want to humiliate? Why do they want to degrade? Why do they want to fucking smash to pieces? Why are they doing that? What is their fucking purpose? Why are they bulldozing their houses, their olive groves? This has been going on for decades. They have been terrorizing these people. There is no fucking letter. They have cut off their water, their sewage has fucking been ripped to pieces. What sort of... These people need to live in fucking dignity. They need to live in peace. I actually believe the fucking Palestinians, they want peace. They will beg for peace. They would get down on their knees to take their fucking children out of that fucking madhouse. But they what? How many fucking decades does have to go on until people realise that Israel, they don't want peace? They do not want fucking peace. There was no reason to fucking start attacking. Not one fucking rocket from Gaza has killed an Israeli this fucking year. It's nearly the end of the year. No deaths. And they just go in 180 strikes last night. Can you imagine the fucking terror of the children of Gaza? Can you imagine being a father holding on to your kids as their fucking grip gets tighter and fucking tighter? As they hear the fucking the Israeli fire fucking jets flying fucking in like that, and the bombs going off. What sort of fucking... Can you imagine a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old? What sort of thoughts must they be having? It's fucking awful. The West is condoning the fucking genocide of the Palestinian people, condoning the massacre, the murder of fucking children. Every single newspaper, the BBC leads with what the fucking Palestinians are doing. Their headline: Hamas sends rockets to Israel. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why don't you speak the fucking truth? Why don't you tell the years of fucking of apartheid, of walls, of fucking checkpoints, of strip searches, of torture, of beatings, of fucking murder? Why didn't you talk about that? Where's that fucking headline? It's not there. Because you don't have empathy for the fucking people of Palestine. You want to support Israel and the Western fucking agenda, which is about raping and pillaging the entire fucking planet, mining companies, banks and death and debt. David Cameron, Tony Blair, they're supporting Obama and Clinton. Define terrorism, you fucking imperialist fucks. Define terrorism, you imperialist fucks. Define it. Tell me about the children of fucking Gaza, or the children of Mozambique, or fucking West Papua. Tell me about that. About Syria, about fucking Bahrain. Tell me about their children. You are fucking responsible. You and your covert fucking undercover CIA MI5 operations. It's fucking awful. It's despicable. It's fucking... What part of your tiny fucking brain actually thinks that you have got any concept of humanity? Because you haven't. And the BBC, if you work for the BBC and you look at those fucking headlines, you start fucking crying, mate, because you should be ashamed of yourself. And if you support fucking Western leaders who condone the fucking carpet bombing of fucking a civilian, a fucking open prison with children screaming their fucking hearts out, crying, fucking shaking. Can you imagine? Do you know when they took out the First World War, suddenly they were fucking shaking. They was in bits, doing that to fucking children. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? Wake the fuck up!
Alright, yeah, I hope you guys liked that as well as I did. You know, it was like a pretty hard-hitting rant. I went ahead and shared it on Facebook. So if you guys are friends with me, you can find that video on Facebook, as well as the video of the military helicopters shooting at each other above the skies of Miami that I covered at the beginning of the show. So, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and cut out. I know I'm a little short of an hour here. But this is the first episode that I've ever done. Once again, I'm Eric Pitts. And I hope to eventually do more shows. Next time I'll probably be better prepared. This was just a thought ran through my head. Hey, go ahead and record a show real quick and just see what happens. So I did, and this is exactly what happened. We do need more programming on Liberty Movement Radio. So if you're interested in doing a show with some kind of a Liberty theme to it, you know, like I said, we're needing programming. We'll consider, you know, just about anything that's entertaining or interesting, educational. We do like shows about voluntarism, anarchy, libertarianism will work. I myself, I am more of an anarchist at heart. You know, I don't believe in any use of force, and I don't believe in any government per se, but I understand that, you know, we may need a certain type of government until our society becomes capable of running as an anarchy, which I don't think it is at this point because of all the brainwashing and government indoctrination. It's really messed up a lot of people, and a lot of pharmaceuticals and things like that are to blame. So, but anyway, I'm out of here. If you like the show, be sure to let me know, and maybe I'll do another one. If I don't hear anything, chances are I won't. So let me go ahead and play a 2-minute and 45-second break here for you. Just because sometimes we miss breaks on LMR, and I've got plenty of time to spare. So I'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening.
Did you ever wonder how the jury in a case you followed could have reached such a bad verdict? Sometimes it's because the jurors weren't told the truth about their power. That is, they're rarely informed that if applying the law would bother their conscience, they can acquit. Instead, they're told to apply the letter of the law, like it or not. If they do as they're told, they may go home feeling as badly about their verdict as you do. Learn about a juror's right to say no to bad law. Call the Fully Informed Jury Association at 1-800-TELL-JURY.
The Caleb Leverett radio program is dedicated to debunking the delusional American mythology known as statism, which is merely the belief that the majority of human population must be controlled by psychotic, lying, cheating, stealing, murdering authoritarians known as politicians, whom most Americans despise and adore at the same time, which is nothing short of political Stockholm Syndrome. So if you're ready to unplug the cord from the back of your neck and enter into the realm of absolute truth, then join us live Mondays and Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Central at www.libertymovementradio.com.
Welcome to the National Drug Abuse Quiz. Today's question, which drug has never caused a fatal overdose? Caffeine, marijuana, or Tylenol? Susan.
Tylenol.
No. Frank. Caffeine? Wrong. Marijuana has never caused a fatal overdose.
Surprised? Find out what else the government is hiding. Visit the Marijuana Policy Project Foundation at joinmpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
Hey, this is Trip NWO Fighter, and you're listening to LibertyMovementRadio.com. Are you tired of the government telling you what to think and feel and believe? Have you felt that burning in the pit of your stomach for most of your life that tells you that something is terribly wrong with the world in which we live? Then join me on Sunday and Wednesday nights from 9 to 11 p.m. The most up-to-date news on activism, government corruption, how to win back our republic. Trip NWO Fighter, the show that gets America's balls back, on LibertyMovementRadio.com.
What can we do to make a change? 'Cause we just wanna be free. We don't want this police state. We just want love and liberty.
Hey, this is Tatiana Moroz, and you're listening to LibertyMovementRadio.com.
Tweet up or make a YouTube video. Speak your mind with education. The knowledge will start to grow. So make a YouTube video.